welcome back to part 2 with Glynn Snodin, the Chesterfield assistant manager, a multi-coach over, well, multi-clubs career. I didn't say that very well, did I? I think we'll start part 2.
We know what you mean.
And Dave Coulson, the team manager and director of Cycling Sheffield. James Gregg joins us with a busy roundup this weekend. I'm going to start with a list, and this list is Carlisle United, Doncaster Rovers, Charlton, Southampton, West Ham, Huddersfield, Preston North End, Sunderland, Bradford City and Chesterfield.
Leeds.
And Leeds.
And Northern Ireland.
I missed out Leeds, yes. Yeah.
There we are.
The main one.
Yes. That you've coached.
Yeah.
Yes. Nigel Worthington.
Northern Ireland.
Yeah. Another ex-Sheffield Wednesday teammate.
Yeah.
Some lists and some big clubs there as well. I mean, Leeds. How was Leeds? You know,
Just fantastic. You know what I mean? Yeah, like to actually play from them and then be on the coaching side and manage them. It's a dream. You know what I mean? I used to love that club as well, watching them as a kid and watching, like I say, the great team that they had.
Yeah.
Then to be part of it as a player, then as a staff. Oh, fantastic.
Never a manager, Glynn. Any ambitions in that way?
Yeah, I had, yes. I had. In fact, do you know something? I got asked that question again today at Chesterfield, yeah.
Did you?
The analysts were asking me, did you ever fancy? And I did, yeah. There were a time when I thought, should I? But I was enjoying it that much because then I think I was at Charlton Athletic then. And then when it was going on, I ended up going with George Bailey to Southampton. And I enjoyed it with George that much. I thought, I'm going to stay here.
Would you have been sort of hard enough? Because we talked about this just before the breaking part, this good cop, bad cop thing,
Of
which
course,
we think Glynn's got going with John Sheridan at Chesterfield.
I'm not going to hazard a guess who's who.
No, you can't. You know, and Glynn said he got a temper on him if needed. Could you have done that job from that point of view of hammering people?
I don't think it's like hammering. I think you've got to be constructive at the same time. No, I mean, it's not just a matter of swearing and hammering them. I think you've got to tell them why exactly it is wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they're not putting the effort, then you know you've got 2 bad cops to have a go. But, you know, when there's something wrong tactically, I think you have to be constructive, but with that voice as well. But yeah, not a problem.
It was interesting, you know, the other night because another great victory, 3-1 at Boreham Wood the other night. You got Eastleigh at home on Saturday, and I mean, you know,
we were at Braintree, Alan.
Braintree, sorry. Brainstorm about Braintree. Boreham Wood. Have you played Boreham Wood? I'm not sure. Anyway, it doesn't matter. John Sheridan chose that perhaps to have his biggest pop at the players post-match that he's had so far. Why did he do that? And was there something in the timing that, you know, when people are up, that's the time to have a go? Is it all?
I think the second 45 minutes. You know, we've gone in 2-0 up. You know, we've played quite well. Yeah. And then second half, you're thinking, right, now go and kill the game. You know, they're bottom of the league. We're on a good run of form. You know, go and pass the ball, go and play, make them run, make them chase, go and win this game 4 or 5. And it didn't happen. You know, it ends up to 2-1. You're thinking, here we go, what's going to happen here? And we do end up winning 3-1, but we didn't play particularly well, you know, second half. These boys will give you everything they've got off the ball. That is never going to be an issue. I'll never. While we've been in the 8 games that we've had them, they are fantastic. It's just with the ball that, you know, you get frustrated at times what exactly you want them to do. And I think that's what got to John that evening.
They can play better than they are, with a bit more belief that they can do it.
That's right, and that's what you want. Like I say, you're always looking for that bit extra and that bit of perfection and little drip feeding into them. You want better because that's how we've been brought up, with a bit of passion, a bit of desire, and be the best you can, and you know, try to be the best you can.
And that confidence, and that seems to have been, you know, without seeing the games and always covering probably one of the Sheffields, John seems to have gone in there to lift people, you know, and try and build their confidence rather than being too demanding and knocking it flat.
Oh, you could play for him, Al. That's not, But the way the way I've seen him over the last few weeks, you could definitely go out there and play for him because, like I say, he wants you to play for him. He's always behind you.
He's never. He's been in here and he never said anything about it.
He didn't. No.
He definitely will back you, honestly. Yeah.
I bought him a pint as well. He still didn't ask me to come and play for him.
The cheek of it.
It's good to see it going well because just before we come back to Dave, it's been a very depressing scene there, which you weren't associated with, and things were kind of at rock bottom. Following 2 successive relegations. Did you find a real depression around the club when he walked in, or did simply John Sheridan's return lift that?
I think it lifted him. Yeah, I do. As soon as we walked in that day, and I know, like, they always try and impress the new manager when you come into a football club, but it's got great facilities there. No, I mean it's a lovely club, and like I say, from day one and the first session, they've been fantastic in training the boys. Give everything we've got, even in games, honestly, everything, and he has lifted them. You can see that. Yeah, okay, lifted the place. Even the staff that work behind the scenes as well.
That's terrific. We'll talk about the Netflix documentary in a moment.
Oh, yes.
You and I both watched
it.
Yeah,
we loved it. Engrossed in it. I want to talk to you about that, but anyway.
Yeah.
You might not want to talk to us about it.
No problem, James. No problem.
You'll talk to anybody, Glynn. You as well. Sheffield United as well, are going great at the minute. I suppose working in, football all these years and you won't have seen a lot of them. Any thoughts on the way they're going?
Yeah, absolutely. I love watching them, I'll be honest. And I have seen them a few times, like I say, while I've been at work and I've been up in 1 or 2 players, people watching players and teams. So, yeah, I've seen Sheffield United a few times. And I think what Chrissy and Nelly's done, his coaching staff, absolutely magnificent. Because if you want to take a player out there, there's not really, they're no stars. I mean, but collectively, he's got them going together. I mean, they're fantastic how they play, the system they play, the way they go forward. I love the way
you've been spying on 1 or 2 players there, have you?
I'm not Bill Easy,
Hey?
I'm not Bill Easy,
On behalf of Simon Grayson, no doubt, at Sunderland, yeah? But it's the way that everybody likes to see the game played, isn't it?
Of course it is, yeah. They're great to watch. I love, watching them, and that's coming from the other side of Sheffield as well, but they are a good team to watch, and the way Chrissy Nelly's got him, fantastic.
Yeah, excellent. I'm looking forward to going there Saturday, and I'm sure you are as well. Home to Rotherham United. I hope it's a better game than the derby, which was absolutely rubbish as far as
it was shocking. It was a snooze fest, wasn't it?
Yeah. I really thought this time Sheffield would show to the watching nation, a spectacle.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
But probably for the fault of neither team, it just didn't.
The amount of my mates who are kind of Huddersfield fans, or Newcastle fans, or Southampton fans, I've got mates sort of all around the country or whatever who've been to uni with and stuff, and they were sort of well up for it, and I was sort of saying, "Oh, you're watching it," and then I got a barrage of texts afterwards saying, "Thanks for that. Thanks for making me watch that." I was like, "Oh, sorry. I thought it was going to be much better."
Yeah, we all did.
That's what it's.
Let's forget it and move on.
Exactly.
During the break, we were talking about aerodynamics, weren't we? Basically about biking and aerodynamics, and Dave Coulson here, as the team manager and director of Cycling Sheffield, was telling us about something that's unfathomable for those of us that don't get on a bike very often. The way that the pros almost ride the slipstream or the airstream, and how does this work then?
The faster you go on a bike, the greater the wind resistance. So the guy in the front is hitting the wind, and that's costing him a lot of energy. The guy sat behind him can be saving as much as 30% effort, and the whole bunch kind of sort of rides and moves as an entity on its own. And if you watch it, it's kind of it's a bit like a snake or something, And on all the riders on a sort of subconscious level, they're that far away from riders all around them, but there's a degree of sort of trust and assumption that no one does anything stupid. Crashes happen, but it's usually when in the finale of a race, when there's going to be a sprint, or towards the end when riders are particularly tired and the weather conditions are bad. But the level of skill involved in sort of, it's all about conserving. It's trying to do less work than the next guy a lot of the time. If you're in a breakaway, say there's half a dozen riders and they've the bunch is 5 minutes behind. That's 6. It's very much about, you know, we've got to stay away from the bunch. One of us wants to win, but I want to win, so I've got to do less work than you.
If you're riding into a 20 mile per hour wind or something, you don't want to be leading, do you?
No,
really.
No.
But that's where the team tactics come in, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
When you if you've got, say, you know, Mark Cavendish, one of the world's best sprinters, his team, when they're confident he can win on a given day, sometimes from as much as 40 kilometres out from the finish, the team will send riders to the front, set pace, and it's. A lot of the time, it's just to stop breakaways going so that they can guarantee a sprint finish. But it's real brinksmanship in that if you do that too early and your riders are spent and then something goes away, maybe in the last 5 kilometres because you no longer got the strength to control it.
Yeah, very tactical.
Yeah, very
tactical. A lot more to it than we thought, Glynn.
Oh, very much so, yeah.
Tell us about television documentaries then. Because I recommended this to James and I watched it all in one day, you know. And you watched it
I watched it very quickly as well.
And
I thought, I was sort of,
your BBC
I was sitting there.
know that,
Yeah, of course I do. Yeah, gaps at work, we'll call it.
He's on an overnight bulletin reading shift at the BBC.
And I'm thinking, right, I know, I'll just watch it in between the bulletins. So it was captivating, absolutely fascinating, and I understand that the production company who came in to do it was Sunderland supporters, and had kind of agreed it all with the club before Simon Grayson had come in. So what was that like when he came in and was sort of greeted with the news that you were going to have cameras following you around all the time? What kind of, does it change your approach at all, or?
No, not really, but it was strange, you know, having them there in your face. But there were some places that we didn't even want them. No, they wanted to come in, but we just said, look, you can't. We don't want you in the dressing room before a game or at the end of a game. That's what we didn't want. Match day, and it was important that it was normality for a match day situation.
I know from talking to Simon Grayson, he didn't relish it. I don't blame him. I don't think you relished it, even though you're quite an extrovert personality. You know, you're not shy, but can it stop you doing your job properly?
I think you've got to forget that they're there.
But that's when the trouble starts. If you forget they're there and you say something that later is controversial, for instance, or whatever.
You just got to be honest, Al. I think you've got to say and do what you want at that moment in time. And if they want to use it, if they don't, then so be it. But I still think you've still got to be honest. But I still didn't think. I've not really seen most of it. You know, I've seen little clips.
Recommend it.
Yeah. But there were people saying it's not really got us how we are, sort of thing, which like I say, I've not really.
I thought that about
really
Simon, knowing him a little, not
what
like
I'm saying,
you do. I didn't think it really showed him, and I don't know, it didn't show his passion, which I know is there.
Yeah.
It appeared he was quite calm and laid back all the time, where...
Oh, he's hands-on, full on. Yeah, and like I say, it's not showed, what the ones I've seen, it's not even showed anything what he is.
Do you know what surprises?
He's got 4 promotions.
Yeah, I mean, fantastic. His record, you can't knock it, can you?
It's terrific.
It just makes you sometimes question that. I remember they did one with Neil Warnock similar, didn't they? Who followed him for a season, and that was kind of in the dressing room and stuff. I mean, some of it's gold. It still floats around on the internet now. But he definitely didn't tone it down, but I think in a way it's probably done him a favour that it now sort of comes out occasionally and people keep sharing it.
That
showing it. There's Huddersfield. There's ones at Bramall Lane as well.
St Bassett did one years ago.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of wonder. Do you think, wow, it'd been good to actually capture that? Maybe.
Do you know what surprises me? That a club that's on the slide, as Sunderland were, and they were facing their second relegation, well, the second successive relegation, should add to the difficulties of the manager and the coaches by inviting an extra degree of pressure in, as if the job isn't hard enough as it is.
Listen, I know people say pressure. No, I mean, it's not pressure. You get stressed now and then because of the job you're in, but it's not pressure, is it? I mean, pressure is if you've got a son and a daughter in Afghanistan, or a wife or a father, and you went for that phone call, or, you know, your daughter's being run over. Sorry for being morbid, but that's pressure. You know what I mean? When you've lost something like that. Ours is a job that we love. You know what I mean? We'll get stressful now and then, you know, and get frustrated. But I've never been felt pressured or anything like that. Never.
I think that kind of pressure. The difference is you've chosen to take it on, haven't you? It's not the pressure of you know, losing the roof over your head.
Correct.
That's right, yeah.
And I mean, the thing is also, I mean, the only pressure, I suppose, is that when the fans are there shouting and, you know, grumbling and protesting.
You take it, don't you? You have to take it.
Small price to pay. You
Yeah,
feel,
correct.
For enjoying it.
I think so. Yeah, and it is a small price. You know what I mean? And they have a right. They work hard for the money. And that's a second home. Whichever football club it is, it's a second home. You know what I mean? They love the football, they love the club, and they know more about it than we do, because managers are coming and going.
Just before we go to James, Ellis Short was the Sunderland owner at the time, and he was somewhat of a reclusive figure who'd never faced the media himself. That also I found odd, you know, that he was quite happy to, I suppose there was some money in it, obviously, for the club, but he was quite happy to subject people at the club to stuff that he himself wasn't prepared to subject himself to. That anyway, I know there were a few unhappy people about it, but at the end of the day, for everybody else, it was fantastic viewing,
I mean,
and
fascinating,
educational.
I think a lot of people who watched it who are football fans will perhaps look at when their team is struggling and actually think they all do care. They are giving it putting lots of thought and time into it. All the players, it meant a lot to them. I think it's probably actually softened a lot of people, you know, a lot of football fans for a season or so, and then they'll forget about it.
Yeah, that's right. If they get promoted, then it's all done with.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Right, plenty going on.
Yeah, there is plenty going on. Yeah, well, that disappointing derby the other night on Monday night, well, that's going to be followed up by hopefully one that isn't as disappointing on Saturday for Sheffield United. They've got another one at the Lane Saturday lunchtime against Rotherham United, of course, who have ambitions of themselves basically to try and get out of those relegation spots, which I sincerely hope that they do, Rotherham United. Too, yeah. But I'm sure that Chris Wilder and co will not be hoping it's at the expense of the Blades promotion push. So that's lunchtime on Saturday. Wednesday are away at Derby County on Saturday afternoon. Of course, all teams now, this stage of the season, seem to have something to play for, don't they? Wednesday included as well. We'll come on to Worksop Town now in non-league. So we try and cover as many non-league teams as possible. There's so many around here, but we'll talk about Worksop Town because they're trying to get the Worksop public to try and support the Tigers in their promotion push, really. It'll be their first league title in 46 years from the league that they're in at the moment, and they're offering a really good deal to watch their last 6 home games of the season. It's just £25 for adults, £20 for concessions, and any child under the age of 16 will get free entry when accompanied by one of those adults. That's pretty good, and that also incorporates the Worksop Town ladies fixtures as well. So really special offer, that one.
Yeah, enterprising, seizing the moment.
Yeah.
You know, the club's on the up. Did you see the result last Saturday?
Yes, fantastic.
Top of the table game against Yorkshire Amateur.
Yeah, big game. And we billed it as that on the show the previous week. You know, we said, wow, big game. It was first against third, wasn't it?
It was.
And
7-0.
7-0, thanks very much.
The Worksop won 7-0.
Wow.
They're flying. Flying at the minute, our Worksop.
Ron Reed's back involved there, by the way.
Oh,
Ronnie Reed, yeah. Yeah, he's back involved because he used to be manager years ago. So well-respected guy.
Brilliant. Nice man.
Craig Denson was in on the show, the manager.
Yeah.
He's never looked back since he came.
No, he's not, has he? He needs to get him in again. In fact, it might sort of undo the good work that we did actually if he comes back in. So we'll
he's probably a bit superstitious about that.
We'll hopefully get him in here when he's got the league trophy to bring in as well. Elsewhere in the league below, Hallam, they lost in the League Cup to Liversedge on Tuesday night. That means that they can focus on their promotion push as well. They've got Swallownest at home on Saturday. Sheffield Club have Carlton Town.
That was a fiery game, by the way, Hallam at Liversedge.
Oh,
I was reading about it on a site called The Beautiful Game.
Yeah, the managers weren't happy about the officiating and all sorts.
Officiating and the other bench.
Yes.
The antics of the other bench.
And it caused a little bit of a stir, that, didn't it?
It
in
did.
the sort of the non-league
I think they've got
pages.
quite a notorious character in charge of Liversedge, whose name escapes me, but I think he's a bit of a character.
Oh, well, there we go. There we are. So anyway, so they're out the cup.
Not in his league.
Yeah, they're out the cup. Sheffield Eagles, they started the season off like a house on fire, haven't they? Got a game in hand. They're sitting second behind Toronto in the Championship in Rugby League. Featherstone Rovers are the opponents away from home on Sunday. In Rugby Union, Sheffield Tigers have got Leicester Lions at Dormore, 3 p.m. start. The Sheffield Steelers, they've got a double header against Fife this weekend, at home on Saturday, away on Sunday. Last weekend they did well. They beat Belfast 4-1 at home, and then they went down to the Welsh capital and got thumped 6-0 by the Devils, and they're certainly on course for a consecutive league title, are Cardiff. And Sheffield Sharks in basketball, they're down to 5th in the BBL. We've got Worcester away from home tomorrow. We'll finish off with some golf. Matt Fitzpatrick is in action at the Bay Hill Invitational on the PGA Tour. He's tied 10th after a round of 2 under par after round 1.
Okay, mate. Thanks very much
No
indeed. Left back, former Sheffield Wednesday and many others left back, Liam Palmer. Now, he's a right back who has been playing left back, and no matter where he plays for Sheffield Wednesday at the moment, he's playing very, very well. Home-produced product, and the word from Steve Bruce when I spoke to him the other night was that he was going to be in the provisional Scotland squad for the next round of games. Any thoughts?
You know, we liked him as if when he first got into the side, we were, you know, monitoring him then when he first came in, and we used to say, like, what a good player this kid looks. Then he just lost his way a little bit, you know, and like I say, I know the team haven't been doing great over the last few months and whatever until Steve's come back in now, but now he's got good potential, you know. And, I mean, look at Dennis Irwin, right back, went to left back, look what happened there. Didn't bad, did he?
Yeah, no, he certainly didn't. It's good to see 1 or 2 other younger players coming through. We'll come back to you with the good cop, bad cop theme before the end of the show. Dave, your team is open to 18 to 25-year-olds, but don't all rush because the standard is a hell of a high.
Yeah, we're not scouting. Yeah.
Right. Can you make a living out of this?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And
I mean, do you mean cycling
Yes.
in general? Yeah, I mean, the best riders in the world,
They do, right,
they're not
right.
earning the same kind of money that footballers or golfers or tennis players make, but it's a good living. Cycling, it's not easy to make a good living, but it is very commercial. So, you know, even a team like ours that is a long way from, you know, Sky, a World Tour team, potentially it's a very commercial entity. You know, you've got all that billboard space, you've got, you know, the jersey, the vehicles, events are on, if they're on any kind of media, they last a long time. Now with social media, so there's a lot to kind of sell. And the internet has allowed bike teams to become very creative and make it even more viable.
I mean, it's a different way to, for example, if you're going to go and watch Worksop Town, for example, this weekend, you're sitting in the terraces with a pie, you can sit there, no matter how cold it is, can't you? Sit and have your bovril, watch the game, cheer him on, shout abuse at the ref or whatever, and go home. With cycling, to support a team, you've almost got to be part of the team in a way, haven't you? It's a trick. It's a different kind of support, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, and it's interesting you said that because, you know, the whole Cycling Sheffield concept, you know, some of the thinking behind it is to try and create an identity that's not unlike a football team. You know, so that the people of Sheffield and surrounding areas can maybe connect to it a little bit, and supporters. You know, if anybody wants to go and have a look at the website, cyclingsheffield.com, there's information there.
I looked at that. I googled it. Cycling Sheffield. It's there. It's a very attractive website and very informative. Find out all you need to know about events coming up. And just before we say cheerio, how does this chemistry work then between you and John Sheridan? Is it a case that if he's had a pop at the players, that you then can be somebody who can put an arm around them just to lift them back up, or vice versa? How does it work?
Exactly right. What you've just said, yeah. Unless it's difficult to put an arm around because that's how they have played, which will be very far and few between now, to be fair. There's not many times that's happened when it's been back up, very rare.
Right.
But yeah, if one has a go, then I think the other one needs to, like I say, get the lads, cheer them up, and then same. We have to, when you come in training the next day, you know, I mean, that's gone. The game's gone. Now you come back in with a smiling face. You come back in and recharge, and we go again. Don't worry about what happened last night. Don't worry about what happened on Saturday. It's gone. There's nothing we can do about that. Now we'll look forward to we're going to do on Tuesday night or Saturday, and we build ourselves up again and go again.
Good to have Charlie Carter back, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I mean, already he's got a couple of goals for us already, so yeah.
Yeah, and also having Bowden back there as well, Scott Bowden.
Yeah, he's got on the score sheet now as well. Got 2 the other night, so hopefully, you know, when strikers start scoring at probably 6 in 6, won't
It's
they?
good news. I'm really regretful that our time has gone again, and it's just absolutely flown by as if we were all on bikes. Dave Coulson, thanks very much indeed. Glynn, thanks a lot. And James on my YouTube later. See you next week. Bye-bye.